Hello, welcome to the Portland Spring Beer Wine Fest. My name's Stephen Schomler. Delighted you're here. Very excited about this panel. Portland is known for many, many, many beer festivals, and I've had the privilege this past year of going to quite a number of them. Very excited about that. So we've got a number of luminaries in the Portland beer world. They're all pretty amazing people. It seems fitting that we would start with Ezra. Ezra, you do some of the best and maybe the most events here in Portland that people do. For those that don't know, Ezra is the founder of the New School Beer, which any brewer I talk to, when they want to know about what's happening with Portland and beer, the first website they go to is New School Beer. He's always breaking stories. He's always writing stuff. I'm tempted. I don't need to write articles. I'll just copy and paste what Ezra does. No, really, I wouldn't do that. But he's on top of his game. He knows the beer community, and you do a lot of cool events. So one of them I love is, it's not really an event, but it's like a week of events, like 10 days of events. So talk to me about Portland Beer Week.
Portland Beer Week is coming up on our 5th year, this June 11th through 21st. And I started it because I realized Portland just didn't have a beer week, while most other cities do. And it also just seemed a really good time to curate a lot of events and kind of cut loose and put together a lot of events that I was just looking for an excuse to put together and team up with some of my favorite people in the industry, but also people in other industries that I thought go well with beer, like Steve Jones from Cheese Bar, who I consider, one of the experts on cheese. And obviously beer and cheese goes well together, so I wanted an excuse to just team up with him to do stuff with the best in the industry, do the fruit beer festival with some of the experts of fruit beer, and just a great collaborative excuse. So
at the Cheese Beer Festival, we get what, cheese and beer, right?
Cheese, beer, and then we also have a charcuterie table. And this year we're actually going to add a artesian chocolate table too. Okay, now the Fruit Beer Festival, last year you had, what, like 4 fruits total? Yeah, I'm not sure how many total fruits we have, but we have over 50 different beers, and we really encourage people to use more exotic fruits. I mean, it's always easy and great to have, your classic cherry and raspberry beers, but we had stuff like cherimoya, and guava and kiwi and all sorts of crazy stuff. The crazier the better, and barrel-aged stuff, spice stuff, sour beers. It's a really exotic lineup.
So I was being silly when I said only 4 fruits. Last year, I think if I remember correctly, I counted up over 35 different fruits. I didn't even know they made that many fruits. But the beers were amazing. What you really want to do is become a beer writer. So you can go to the media event, and then you get to try a lot of them. That is phenomenal. So speaking of fruit, in the fall you do what's the one I always mispronounce with peaches?
The Peche Fest.
Peche Fest. Yeah, talk to me about that. I love that one.
The Peche Fest is kind of funny because I was just like, what could we do that's even more of a niche than Fruit Beer Fest? Let's go focus on just one single fruit. And I just noticed there was a glut of, like, not a glut, but a lot of really good peach beers coming out all of a sudden. And I thought if I could get a bunch of these really cool ones together, it would be kind of a cool tapping event. And the first time we did it, we just had 10 different peach beer, and we had a cider, and we had a mead, and then we did a peach food menu. And that was pretty popular, and we just did, I think we had a couple hundred people the first year. And then last year, which was our second year, we managed to get like 30 different peach beers from all over the country. We had a peach farmer. We had a really exotic menu. And again, we're shooting for about 200, 250 people, and I think we had like 500 people in the first couple hours show up. And you did a barbecue that had like peach barbecue. Yeah, Cerveza does some awesome peach barbecue. Then we also do like desserts, so we had like peach cobbler. There's so many different things you can do with peach, both sweet and savory items. And then in the springtime, you do the Farmhouse and Wild Ale Festival, right? Portland Farmhouse and Wild Ale Festival, which was just this last weekend, which is our 3rd annual year. That one's also kind of niche. I mean, we started off with like about 500 people. Second year, we had about 1,000. I think this year we did about 1,500 people. So it's still on the smaller edge of festivals, but for such a smaller, newer category to American audiences of Farmhouse and Wild Ales, I'm pretty happy with how quickly it's growing. Yep. So if I missed any, is there any that I haven't forgotten about, that I forgot about? I mean, we could go on about a ton of little niche ones, but I think we should give the rest of the panelists some time, though. All right. Well, thank you, Ezra, so much.
So, Brian, you're an author, right?
Yes.
So you're the author of the book Oregon Breweries.
Exactly.
I'm a big fan of that book.
Thank you very much.
You had the difficulty of having to visit over 190 breweries here in Oregon.
Truly difficult, but I managed to pull through.
So why are you, if this is not the book time, why are you even here on this stage? What's up with, are you doing festivals now?
I am doing a festival.
How dare you? Who told you you could do a beer festival?
The nerve that in this open source society of ours. I've kind of tried to do a few in the past. I've done some very smaller ones, but basically taking some inspiration from Ezra and just realizing, hey, take some initiative and put together a beer event that you know would draw a lot of interested parties. And of course, in Portland, that's what we've got. It started off almost, I don't want to say a joke, but it was sort of a little tease and comment to a friend and fellow beer writer in...
Hold the mic up real close so they can hear you. Be
loud. A friend
loud.
and fellow beer writer in Toronto, and I was trying to lure him out to Portland for the upcoming Craft Brewers Conference. And I said, hey, why don't we do a beer and donut festival? He's from Canada. When I think Canada, I think beer and donuts, eh? So from there, I just, it started snowballing. Well, what kind of beer would go great with donuts? Coffee beers, of course. We're going to do it as a brunch time event. So thinking about donuts, I thought about how many, there's like a baker's dozen, and everything just instantly fell into place. We're going to have 13 different coffee beers, 13 different locally made excellent donuts. And it's not about pairing one particular beer with one particular donut, just coming in, having some samples of each one. There are, about 60 breweries in Portland. There's about 60 coffee roasters in Portland, and there's certainly no shortage of excellent donuts. So it was a natural sort of three-way, as it were. So
your event means that we can party like Homer with donuts and coffee beer.
Exactly. I was thinking of it like channeling your inner Homer. Those are obviously two of his favorites too, and it's going to be a good, delicious time.
It sounds really, really good. I'm excited about it.
Thank you.
All right. Preston. So, man,
yes.
I love the Holiday Ale Fest. It's one of my favorite events. It is just fantastic. So that's your event, isn't it?
Yeah, I manage and run it. It's a little 5-day fest at Pioneer Square in the middle of winter, so yeah.
It's not a little 5-day fest. It is phenomenal. So tell us about it. I mean, it is a blast.
It's a great opportunity for us to work with the brewers to have them reach back out to their fans and brew something exclusive for the fest. We're very grateful for that. The industry's changed so much since we first all became excited about beer in Portland 20 years ago. And, to come and support your local brewery and find out that there's beers at the fest that you can get across the street or at a bar, it's great, but the fans are expecting more. They actually go out and see the brewery. So it's a great format to have all the breweries submit something for their fans at one location. It used to be easy to go see all the breweries in Portland. Now it's almost impossible unless you've got a month off. So to be able to come to one location and have a wide-ranging assortment of beers from all your favorite breweries, it renews some passions and gives you a reason to maybe after Christmas go out and go on a road trip and see those breweries that you haven't been to in a while.
So what kind of beers do you feature at the Holiday Ale Fest?
It's whatever the brewers want to bring. Now, it's the winter season, so traditionally we see a lot of barley wines, stouts, barrel-aged beers, stronger beers, things that you would traditionally see released during that time. But we don't really put any restrictions on the brewers. It's whatever they want to share. So also we get a lot of creative things, fruits, spices. I mean, there's really no limits.
And somehow you were able to talk the city of Portland into putting up a tree for you every year.
Yeah, it's really nice. When people ask how to find us, we tell them to look for the tree. We're right there.
Well, Preston, thanks for joining us. I love your event.
Thank
Holiday Ale Fest. It happens
December 2nd through 6th this year at Pioneer Courthouse Square.
But it's usually the first week in December?
Always the first full weekend, although we start on a Wednesday. But yeah, the weekend in December.
So right now it starts on a Wednesday. Eventually you'll probably grow and be like a 10-day event.
Oh, no, I don't know that I could survive that. So we're right after Thanksgiving, which is a great opportunity for us. But I'm on site 9 days to make that event happen. I don't know that I could do one more day. So.
Well, and I know you don't do it by yourself. So Chris,
oh, no, I got a great team, and here's one of my team members right
Chris
here.
helps you with that. So I'll come over here because I told Chris that I would be kind and nice to her. I think she'll do a great job.
Don't hit me, Stephen.
Now, what's cool is that I know Chris. All of these people know Chris, but a lot of you don't know Chris. So I actually wrote in my book that she's a prominent beer personality, and I think she is. She has done a tremendous job behind the scenes helping a lot of amazing festivals come together. Some people know who she is, some people don't, but you help with the Holiday Ale Fest. You also help with, now when I was growing up, the Rose Bowl was the granddaddy of them all. Anybody grew up in Pac-10 country? It's now Pac-12, I know, but then it was the granddaddy of them all. So OBF is the granddaddy of them all. It is quite an amazing event, and you help make that happen. So
yes,
I know you do more than that, but let's start with that one. Talk about OBF.
That's another small 5-day festival.
So it's small, so you had, what, over 80,000 people last year?
We annually get 85,000 over the course of 5 days. It's always the last full weekend in July, so this year it's July 22nd through 26th. And we're at Waterfront Park. We feature, this year, actually 90 craft breweries from around the country. Each brings one beer, and it's just a huge celebration of beer.
And people, I know that it's like a big deal, if I understand correctly. Brewers apply and hope that their beer gets accepted. Is that right?
Yeah, we usually get about anywhere between 130 to 150 breweries that apply, and we usually select anywhere between 85 and 90. So it's, you know, it's not exclusive, but it's, breweries love to be a part of it, and there are very few festivals in the country where you have that kind of built-in audience of 85,000 people.
And it's right there, Waterfront Park. It's a beautiful setting. It's usually warm. Once in a while it rains, but usually it's warm, it's sunny, you have a great beer, you have great food. I love it.
Yeah, I always like to say it's kind of like quintessential Portland. You're sitting there, you're looking at Mount Hood, drinking along the banks of a river. It's just a wonderful time.
Okay, so now what are some of the other awesome events you help make happen?
So I am fortunate to promote the Holiday Ale Festival, also the North American Organic Brewers Festival, which my colleague Craig Nichols will be talking about. And then I do one that's not Portland proper, but it's the Oregon Garden Brewfest, which is down in Silverton, Oregon. So it's only about an hour's drive away, but I like to say it's one of the most beautiful brewfests in the state. Gorgeous setting. This year it's moved to June, so it's Father's Day weekend, so June 19th through 21, and you get to drink beer while walking around a gorgeous garden, and it's a good time.
So if I live in Portland, it's what, an hour drive?
Only an hour.
Why should I do that? Why would I want to go to that event?
Why would you not want to go to that event? It's one thing, the Oregon Garden has a lodge, so you can actually book a room, stay there, drink all weekend, walk around beautiful gardens, and now that it's in summer and everything's in bloom, it's just gorgeous.
Awesome. All right, I will make sure that I'm there.
All right.
All right. Joseph, how are you?
I'm doing well, thanks, Stephen.
So you're like the alleged new kid on the block.
I'm got to be the oldest rookie that has ever existed.
The oldest rookie. So tell us, so you are the founder of, tell me if I get this right, the Portland Craft Beer Festival.
Correct.
So you're going to be mean. Only beers brewed in the city limits of Portland can participate, correct?
Keywords, city limits. We're
City
sticking
limits.
right to Portland addresses.
All right. So tell me about your event.
It'll take place in the Fields Park in the Pearl District, July 3rd through the 5th. So we've taken a step to have a festival. While there's another large festival that's not necessarily a beer festival going on, I don't think anybody's ever wanted to compete against that. I don't think we're going to compete against it, but we'll complement each other maybe. That would be the big step that we've taken. We're only going to have about 50 breweries, a couple cider makers, one winemaker. So it's a big event, and we're excited for it to happen.
Excellent. And so you're going to do it generally over 4th of July weekend. Is that the plan?
That's the plan. Once a year, 3rd through the 5th.
All right. That sounds, I'm excited. I'm going to go. I'm going to check it out.
We'll look forward to seeing you there.
All right. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Craig Nichols, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
So I know just from reading your stuff, you're kind of passionate about this whole organic beer thing.
Yes.
So for those that don't know what an organic beer is, probably some of you do. There was a couple years ago when I didn't know what an IPA was. And then when they said it was an India Pale Ale, is that right? India Pale
Yes.
Ale? I didn't even understand what? They're not even pale, and this is beer made in India? So there are people that are dumb like me that didn't know those things. So what is organic beer?
Organic beer is beer that's made with grain and hops that are grown without the use of pesticides or any genetically modified, malts or barley.
Excellent. All right, so tell us about your event.
Well, our event has moved this year. It's moved to August. It's been 10 years over at Overlook Park, actually 9 years at Overlook Park. And this will be our 11th year. It's moved. It's still at Overlook Park, but we've moved to August. And it's the only organic beer festival in the world. It promotes sustainable living, organic beer, of course, organic and sustainable food. It's a really wonderful family event. And really the whole key is, understanding that you can produce pretty much anything in the world that you ingest of any sort that can be organically grown and, you know, just a much healthier way to live. And it's really the whole key of our festival from day one was just to promote sustainable living, particularly in Portland, where it just started just working here in Portland and getting all the brewers to get on board to just promote what it's all about living in the Northwest, which is sustainability, organic, recycling. We really promote a kids area, which is, you know, a good way to teach the kids on recycling, reusing, and that's a big part of it too, not just about drinking beer and eating great food, but making sure that we can pass on the education to our kids and that they take care of the world that has kind of been screwed up for a little while.
Now, I know you do a lot of recycling, and I read, I don't remember the exact number, but so how much trash did you generate last year? It was a ridiculous amount. Do you remember roughly how much?
Yeah, ridiculous amount. It was 125 pounds, I believe, of trash total. Yeah, ridiculous amount.
The entire festival, 125 pounds of trash
that was
last
it.
year. All the rest was recycling. And the cup that you give out, I can actually eat the cup when I'm done. Is that right?
If you choose so. You put a little salt, pepper, a little butter on it. It's corn. So it is compostable, and that's a big part of our message right there and our mission.
Excellent. Well, I've been. I've had a great time. I'm excited to go back.
Good.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, it's going to be a great year, so we'll hope to see everybody there.
All right, one more. Steve, you want to come up?
Steve. Here, sit down, Steve. Or stand.
Yeah, let the old man sit down. Oh, there we go. 21 years, baby.
So the Spring Beer Wine Fest is legal to drink now.
We are, finally.
So before you talk about the Spring Beer Wine Fest, one of the things that you do is you kind of go to all of these festivals all year long.
I go to everybody's festival. They don't let me in for free, but I do go to everybody's festival.
And the thing is that he tells Jeannie that, no, this is work, really. I'm going to these events for work. I don't buy that. I think it's just a hobby. So almost every weekend he's at a beer festival. But
there's a lot of them out there now.
All right, so tell me about the Spring Beer Wine Fest.
Well, like I said, we're 21 years old, but it's nice to be a part of this fraternity because some of these guys, except one down here, has been around for quite a while, and it's been a great group. We've all grown together. We've seen the business change, the business models change, the breweries, everything has changed over these years. And we've just kept along with it and kept getting some great brewers in front of everybody. The beers are fabulous. They're all getting great, and everybody keeps coming to these festivals and enjoying the product.
Now, one of the things you like is you like new brewers. You like to get new brewers in and have them hang out in the booth. Why do you want a new brewer to hang out at the booth?
They have a story to tell. Everybody wants to hear the story. And at some of these festivals, they never get to hear that. So each festival is unique in some way, which really makes it great. And at this one, we tend to put the brewers in the booth, the cider makers, and they have some really neat things to tell you about, where they came from, how they brewed the beer, where their place is at, so you can go back there and check them out.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. I'm grateful. So I will, I'll do my duty. It'll be a hard job, but I'll go to all the events this year. Just to, it will be work, really. That's what I'll, tell people. I'm working when I'm at all these events. So. But thank you so much. Ezra, Brian, Preston, Chris, Joseph, Craig, Steve, thank you guys so much.
Well, thank you very much.
All right. Take care.